What's up, people? And welcome to another episode of the Gotham After Show on the Fan Show Network on theStream.tv. I'm your host, Devon, whichever one you feel like saying. I'm gonna stop saying Devon because some people are getting a little tongue-tied. It's okay. Devon's cool too. On my left, we got your boy, David.
Hi, David. How about that episode?
On my right, now today Vi couldn't be with us. She is doing something probably more adventurous. I don't know, but good luck to her. We have Becca.
Hey guys, and don't vex me, mortals.
I would hope you saw the episode so you know what that means. Because she just doesn't usually say that randomly.
I say that all the time whenever I meet someone.
And then at the end, we got your boy, Tommy.
Hey, good to be back. Please vex me, mortals.
Yes, yes, yes. So before we even get started, please go ahead and do like we say all the time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. Turn it on. Tell your mama, tell her friends, and tell her friends. And let's get going, okay, on, again, theStream.tv's YouTube channel. So, I completely messed that word. What's a YouTube channel?
It was a you do.
You do channel.
You do you on the YouTube.
You do you, so we do you on YouTube.
Don't
okay?
be afraid to be yourself, guys. You're worth it.
Exactly.
That you do on YouTube?
So, about that episode. Now, we were thrown into an interesting mix right in the beginning, okay?
Yeah.
We saw the dude that was scared to cross the street.
Yeah.
He had his little bottle he put in the thing, and they called it Viper. Now, okay, that we're introduced to what they also called the prelude to Venom, which I call that. I just want everybody to know that. I said that.
They called it.
Will they use it later in the season? That's a good, you know.
Will we?
Well, I don't know, because so far each episode has been pretty much self-contained, aside from the Wayne murders, obviously, which are our big through line, but everything else has been like this nice little present wrapped up with a bow at the end of each episode. So maybe not.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I would like to see some Venom being used. I'd like to maybe see a person who is a weak person take a little Venom, become a strong person, and then commit a ton of crimes and force Commissioner or Detective Gordon to take him down.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who is that?
Oh, I don't know.
David, can you please explain who that might have been?
Bane? I don't...
All right. Yes.
Maybe,
And
maybe a Bane-like character.
I think that we possibly could, maybe not. I think we possibly could see it, though, because they went to the warehouse 39 at the end, and it was empty, and then we saw that little screen cap with the girl. She's like, we'll let them be unless they get closer. Yeah. So they're like, oh, all right, so there is something going on here. It could come back, who knows?
There's a lot of balls up in the air right now in this show. There's a lot of, like, things that have been, like, there's a lot of people waiting and seeing.
We're going to put a pin in that. We'll come back to that later.
Well, do we know where Bane was at this age? What his age is in relation to Batman?
I mean, isn't he, Nicaraguan? Okay. I mean, he's probably in Nicaragua.
He's in a
at this
youth
point.
soccer league, probably.
Yeah.
Probably doing some youth
That's
soccer.
not borderline. Well, we're going to let that one, we're going to put a pin in that one, too.
Sorry, what was wrong with that? Youth soccer?
Yeah, he's probably making lots of friends with his weird face mask.
But also, it of course draws your attention to the guy Stan how you say his name? Pulowski?
Podolski.
He's Polish.
Yes.
He's got to be Polish. It's a Polish name.
We did some time trying to figure out who this guy was, and I guess evidently he's not necessarily a character in the comics.
Right.
The first person I could relate it to was a guy named Stanley Lebowski, was that his name? Lebowski, the one I was telling you from. He used to be on Batman Beyond. He like had grenades and detonations and stuff. He was a troublemaker back then.
Chemist.
Yes, but I don't think that was necessarily in relation to this guy. So you know, he might have just been an expendable person. Obviously, he probably died at the jumping off that building. I thought, you know, he might have survived, seeing as now
with
that
the super
Viper,
strength.
Yeah, I thought maybe, but it looks like they did the slow walk off, like he ain't gonna be on next week. Like they gave the look like usually when you look over a building, you're like,
If this was on HBO, we'd see
if it was
a
on
giant
HBO,
pool of blood and just some guts.
Or the regular like.
This made me mad though, because you'd think, you know, if someone can lift up an ATM after they take this stuff, then they could at least withstand falling 3 stories onto a car and walk
Their
away.
legs aren't going to buckle when they hit the ground, you know?
That's what I thought.
Boom.
He didn't take a tasteful amount of the Viper. If we recall, he got blasted with like what would be the equivalent of a keg of Viper.
Which you would think make him even stronger, but I guess not at this point. Because everyone was taking a little like, and they was ripping ATM machines out the wall.
Right.
By the way, which was, I would say that was pretty cool, the way they let it run out and he like buckled down. That was cool. But also, does this open up the door for future metahumans that we may see in the show, seeing as we can't necessarily go to the villains of the Batman universe, which, like I always tell you guys, remember that this is, of course, about Gordon, not Batman. Don't wait for Bruce to come out there with a cape and a mask. It's not going to happen probably within the first 12 seasons. You
Maybe
know?
on Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Halloween. It is coming up. But, I mean, it's, you know, just trying to
Well, it could be.
Yeah.
We just saw the preview for the next episode. I mean, I wouldn't really call it a superpower, but we're going with the more pharmaceutical weapons route. Scarecrow's next episode.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they have something to go with it, which also does the whole, like, Wayne's family, questionable, whatnot. They're definitely making them out to be somewhat of a villain in this, you know? Or maybe it's just them getting a bad name for now and then it's going to get cleared up later. We don't know. But
I got some comment. We'll talk about that later.
oh, well, no, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But also, as you always say, you know, the whole detective work with Bruce being such a young kid. And I mean, is it, do you look at it as a negative for them having Bruce doing such detective work right now already? Because, you know, people are already saying we could leave Bruce out the show and we have a good show still.
I think it's just kind of distracting. I think, like, there is a detective on the show, Jim Gordon, who we're supposed to believe is the most important detective and character. It's supposed to be his show, and Bullock is his partner. And the best police work being done right now is being done by a 12-year-old and his English manservant.
I know.
Like, I think it's a little, like, I mean, I enjoy it, and I love the Alfred character. I think the Alfred character is incredible.
Yeah.
But I just feel like we didn't get a ton of Jim Gordon screen time in this episode, but we got a lot of Bruce Wayne detective screen time. And I don't know, like, I mean, it's obviously they're tipping their hat to the Batman universe, maybe to keep the pure Batman fans happy, but I think it's a little unnecessary.
Well, I think it's building up to something that can't really happen because he is a kid, so we're not gonna see him be Batman. And also, it's this weird fine line of like, oh, well, these guys are the best actors in the show, in my opinion, is Alfred and the kid playing young Bruce Wayne. But it's like, what is this doing to contribute to the plot that we're dealing with in this episode? It's not really that necessary.
I got it. I think what's happening here is that we are seeing the early stages of the Bat. But remember how Alfred doesn't want him doing this detective work at all. By the end of this episode, Alfred's helping him out, which we know further down the line, like Alfred is a huge player in Batman's life and doing his detective stuff. Not only that, Bruce is now trying to investigate a conspiracy that now Gordon's trying to investigate. So they're both investigating the same thing, a conspiracy within Wayne Enterprises and all this kind of stuff. So I think maybe we're going to see this tie in, maybe with their meetings with Bruce, you know, because Gordon goes to see Bruce quite a bit.
That's true. But realistically, how much can Gordon use Bruce Wayne's like private investigation? You know what I mean? Like how much of the information that Bruce Wayne uncovers is Gordon going to take seriously? I mean, he obviously admires the kid's like gumption and like fortitude for being a kid that's just, you know, had to deal with this horrible tragedy and is, you know, being proactive about it. But it's like, how serious do you take a 12-year-old ever?
Yeah, that's true.
But if the kids start solving all the mysteries, is Jim Gordon going to get a little jealous, maybe? This could be a showdown.
I mean, at this point, I look at it more, rather than, I doubt that they're going to really let the kids solve the mystery, which would be cool, but I don't think this is Scoop in the gang.
Right.
But at the same time, it's one of those things, right now, I feel like they're, like I was saying, I feel like they're making the Wayne family the enemy, which at this point, for me personally, is driving me away from the sympathy behind the murder. You know, now it's saying, like, maybe it was a vigilante act or something like that. You know, we don't really know. All we know still at this point is shiny shoes, which we haven't gotten any closer to identifying, regardless if Selina Kyle saw him in cold blood and is still running the streets doing daylight pickpocketing and whatnot, and like kicking older men in the crotch.
Can
Like,
we talk
don't
about
know.
that moment for a second? Did we talk about? We didn't talk about that.
We didn't
yet.
talk about that. We need to talk about that. Talk about that.
So the only time we see her the whole episode, it's like, oh, you ain't taking the wallet right in front of you, Jim. You're cool with this? Bye. And
Hey,
then
Selina
I'm
has a
gone.
level of skill that we've never seen before in broad daylight. The slide on the
Oh, yeah,
hood of
the
the truck,
slide.
did we notice the slide on
Dukes
the
of
hood?
Yeah, it was
Hazzard
some 22
slide,
Jump Street.
You know what
going
I'm
on.
saying? 22 Jump Street, and the dude had no idea. He was like, what? What? And then she was just like, what's up? And then,
She gave him like a little kick in the butt.
well,
too.
she gave him the twirl and then the poof right in the
was.
ball, you know. But That's the thing.
They were like, don't forget about this character because we're bringing her back in later episodes, but we got
Speaking of
nothing
that,
for her right
we
now.
also can't forget about the main bird that's ruining Jim Gordon's life at the moment. The damn penguin. The penguin, okay? And you guys have made it very apparent that you say he's planning everything out before he does it.
Definitely.
Do you think this whole thing that he set up right now with Maroni and then the whole like giving him his whole backstory because he's somewhat of a snitch, okay?
Yeah.
Is that part of his plan on ruining Jim Gordon's life? Because at this point, I don't really see, I saw where his plan was going when he did the whole robbing thing and like got the money and whatnot, killed his own people that work for him. But right now, I'm a little lost. Like, I don't know if that was just him stumbling on his plan or...
I think it's the same plan. Just like when he set up a robbery and he used it to elevate himself within the Maroni family. I think this whole thing, by using Jim Gordon, he's elevating himself. He went from being a dishwasher to a manager. Now we've seen him going from a manager to the new weapon that the Maronis are going to use. So now he's the right-hand guy.
Yeah.
You know, like he's elevating himself within the family, within the power. I think he did all this on purpose. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
He's a pretty smart guy.
I would go as far as to say that I think he's the smartest person in this show right now. I don't think he makes a wrong mistake. I mean, you were seeing a gregarious side of the Penguin that you almost never see when he's talking to Maroni at the table and he's like, it's a very interesting story. One you may not even believe. It was like, you know, his like aw shucksness kind of flipped over to this strange confidence all of a sudden as he's revealing that he used to work for Maroni's enemy.
Yeah.
And now, if you think about it, Maroni trusts him even more. He's even higher up, and Gordon knows that Maroni trusts him even more. So now he's got Gordon thinking he's higher up in the enterprise. He can be more useful for information.
I think he did something really stupid here, which was expose to Maroni that he is a snitch, which Maroni makes a joke about, oh, you snitch, you rat, come here. But Maroni's gonna keep him at arm's length because he knows that this guy could rat to major crimes at any time or knows Jim Gordon already, and even though they're both using...
I think he's just taking risks. He's taking huge risks, but I think they're planned.
Yeah, because if he hadn't told the exact same story that he knew Jim Gordon would tell, then he would have been fucked. Sorry.
That's okay. We all watch rated R movies and porn. We're online.
But how could he have planned that out to know that they'd have to tell the exact same story? Either really smart or really lucky.
My thing is, I don't remember what my thing is.
You're absolutely
I am
right.
absolutely right.
What other
I
story
agree.
is Jim gonna tell?
Oh.
He doesn't sound like a very creative person.
No.
Yes.
So,
That's true.
But also we got to think now, because now Maroni got some pull on Gordon.
Right.
And he didn't have that before. Remember,
Yeah.
Gordon's the straight arrow. Didn't nobody have no trash on Gordon. But now he has like the number one that he's already, you know, on the line of like walking near death. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like Falcone, if once he finds out about Cobblepot, he's done. And
Right.
so probably is Barbara, so probably is Bullock, everyone that has association with him.
Right.
And Maroni is utilizing that weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now we're going to see if this is going to affect Gordon later on in the seasons too, in an episode, because he didn't have that before.
Right.
But
So-
really, Falcone is the only one that's going to take out Gordon if he finds out Gordon didn't kill Penguin. So, I mean, now he has a vested interest in seeing Falcone go down too.
That's true.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. And hey, YouTube shout outs real quick. I do want to say what's up to Greg Matthews. I feel like we see you every day, bro. We're gonna need to see like a profile pic or something. We gotta put a face with the name. All right. I'm gonna say this right. Blue Etragon. I don't. Okay. Hey, that's a cool name.
What's up,
Blue?
Ash Two-Face. What's up, girl, guy? Ricardo Aspina and Spice Nugs.
Spice Nugs,
again.
Spice
Nug.
My
Spice
man.
Nug, this fool right here, bro. What's up, man? And yeah, again, go ahead and subscribe to theStream.tv for, of course, all your favorite after shows. I mean, whether you're watching us, Flash, Arrow, anything, we got it for you. Okay? Now, speaking of weapons, because Maroni has his weapon, who is Fish's old weapon, okay? But now Fish has her new weapon, okay? And
Liza.
our question, Liza, yes, that's her name. I'll keep forgetting the girl's name. But what does she exactly plan on doing with this weapon? Because I have my predictions, and what necessarily does she want out of it? You know, like I always assume that she just wants Falcone out. Okay, and what other way to get an old man is by a young woman? Okay, it seems to work all the time. And you know, Liza's an attractive young girl, but with the whole like audition, Okay, when she had to
Yeah.
be able to beat the hell out of another young girl. I would assume that's why my assumption is Falcone. Okay, she wants to, because she already hates him. She wants to bring him down, but she also needs somebody who's willing to do it and physically able. Like I said, I don't think she could bring down Maroni just because he seems a little young. Seems like he still got a little muscle. He was throwing Penguin around.
Oh,
pretty
Well, I
yeah.
don't
fierce.
think
Like
she's
a
gonna
basketball.
physically take him out. Liza taking out Falcone or taking out Maroni. I think her plan is to get intel, maybe poison, maybe who knows. But she's not like, oh, I need to make sure this girl can beat somebody up and be hot and sing.
Okay,
So that-
what if it's like, all right, remember she's teaching her to seduce, right? She's teaching her to do these, to say it like this, oh baby, and all of these things. Then we see at the end of the episode, we see Fish with that Russian guy, who we find out that they've been conspiring against, but she's using the same moves that she's teaching that little girl on this guy.
Well,
so
she
maybe
using-
she's not really like this Russian dude that she's with, she's not really like, oh, it's a thing. Maybe she's using him for the same reason that she's using this girl. She's using him to get the
Maybe
Falcone.
that's a weapon all women
Well,
have.
I
and
was
we
about to
use
say,
when we
she's
need
using
to.
a
That-
little different arsenal of tools.
That taco,
for the
man,
Russian.
that's a weapon.
And what with
Taco?
it absolutely is. I don't want to just gloss past that. That taco is a weapon.
It is a
Now,
weapon.
When they were doing that little voice coaching, like line thing, she was pushing her away from sexiness, though, was she not? More towards a motherly tone.
I think what
like,
she was going for here was maturity and a level of sexiness that appeals to an older man versus, oh, I'm available. You want me? I'm a young girl on the street. Versus, I'm a classy, sophisticated woman.
Yeah.
So maybe a more like rather than someone that if Falcone was just looking for a one and done, maybe he would find
I
someone
don't know
that
if
he
he
didn't
could
really
handle
respect.
a one and done at this point.
Well, it's like we said, she had
Modern
her,
medicine is miraculous, guys.
but she also had her memorize that song, which is hitting a soft spot with Falcone.
Right.
I mean, you talk like you said, he's a crime lord,
Sure.
and he got this little 20-something-year-old, maybe even 17, 18. I don't know, she look a little young.
Yeah. Right.
Got this like 60, 70-year-old Don stuttering over his words, like, you make my peepee maker. Like she just had him all over the place. Like,
Speaking of peepee maker, how did Fish know that Falcone was sung this song by his mother as a small child?
Well,
That is a rare piece of information.
where
that
did
she had a
peepee
hold of.
maker come?
I thought you said that.
Yeah, but how does that?
No, unrelated. I just wanted your attention.
What it was just a very beautiful segue.
Yeah.
Now, I think what we were implied in the earlier episodes is that Fish and Falcone were once, at least at one point, very, very close because she's basically his right-hand woman.
Yeah.
So now they've obviously grown apart, and like we're now catching the action in the middle. We're not at the beginning of the story of Fish Mooney and Falcone. We're years and years along. So they've grown apart now, but that's not to say that they haven't maybe at one point been lovers, or maybe
She could have sung that song to him.
Right.
Ooh.
Well, he said his mama did it, so.
Right, but I mean, he
What
may have
mama
revealed
did he
that
mean?
to Fish Mooney. You know, I mean, in an intimate moment, maybe, you know, at a point of vulnerability for him. Like, Fish has had him vulnerable before, we
Yeah.
can assume. I mean, the way they interact with each other.
That's true. That's true. And I mean, it's like you said now, or actually, like you were pointing out, David, that they're all having a convergence now against Falcone. Now, like you said, well, Gordon needs him down, Fish wants him down, Maroni wants him down. Penguin, I will just call him Penguin. Penguin wants him down. Like everybody now is converging on the one single common enemy.
Well, now I
Which-
think what they have to show is get us on Falcone's side. I want to see if Falcone knows what's going on, or if he's just completely oblivious and has no idea everyone's teaming up against
that
him.
might be what the weapon is for, as a distraction, because Falcone's a smart man.
Just as a comic book nerd, we know that Falcone's gonna win.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I don't know who the hell Fish is.
Well,
She
'cause
never
Fish
survives the
doesn't
day.
exist.
Well, we know from that iteration that Falcone is going to win. Again, the nature of this television show being brand new, uncharted territory is that they could kind of screw with the timelines and with the results of what happens. Now, I agree with you. In the canon of Batman, we know Falcone should win. But they may go somewhere different with it. I mean, we might see they're screwing with ages a little bit. We might see different results, and we may see alternate universes and alternate endings, which is common in comic books.
But
you
that's
know?
kind
There's-
of playing with fire. Well, yeah, different comic books tell it different ways. But as a comic book fan, would you be offended if Falcone just died in the next episode? You know, I think
I
they
really
could
wouldn't.
alienate some of their fan base that way.
But do they care about comic book fans or do they care about TV fans? Just purely for this show. And I mean, I think the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. I don't mean it that cut and dry. But I think the point is to make a good television show.
Yeah.
And if they gotta screw with the comics a little bit, they have that license to do it. You know,
That's true.
It's not
I mean,
like those guys aren't sworn to a Batman code of honor.
Well, the only person we know for sure they're not going to kill off is Bruce and Alfred. That's the only person, and Gordon, hopefully, till he gets the glasses and the mustache.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like that's the only solidified characters that we have. They could even kill off Selina. She might try to pickpocket the wrong old man. He got a switchblade on his tongue and foop, 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 she's dead.
But we don't know that this is the only Catwoman that ever was, you know? There could be different
That's definitely a good question for you, because I don't know. I only know one white woman.
I only know Selina Kyle.
And Halle Berry, of course, which...
Well,
we've had many different iterations of Selina Kyle, but...
Yeah.
On the note that they can do what they want with this version of Batman.
She can always be licked back to life by a bunch of stray cats, too. So
That's
let's
been
just...
On that note, we will be right back with all of your fan questions. Please send us some good ones and don't hold back.
Just in case you missed it live.
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 In case you missed it live, I'm not fake, I'm so real, okay?
Hey, who's excited?
Woo! She's a little superhero slut because she's so. I just pissed everybody off.
She's like such a glamazon.
Join the writer's team because you are hot.
And I loved it.
That is like tension beyond belief. I found her to be deliciously out of control.
We were all just looked at each other just like, oh.
So we can assume that you've written letters to inmates before.
Give me the diamonds. I need them for my wife.
Take charge and kill everyone.
This Holocaust coffin!
You were agreeing with me, so I think it was a great point.
Good.
You know, you can't count anything out.
Yes, yes. Yes, oh my God.
What's your shoe size? My size.
Well, that was pretty awful.
Oh my God.
Very cool.
Oh, welcome back, people. All right, I'm sorry, caught me in mid-conversation. But yeah, now on to those fan questions that I promised you before we left. I'm not a liar. So, first question coming from @C_K_De Guzman. I recognize that name. Will Quincy Sharp be the warden of Arkham when it opens? That's a good question. I would say so. I mean, what was the one of the regular Arkham? Wasn't it
It's Quincy Sharp.
That was the name? There was another
Well, I
name.
assume so. That's
also
why
that
they're
ran-
probably asking.
Well, I don't think he was the, I think Quincy Sharp is like the one who runs it while Batman's in the universe. But this is pre-Batman, so it could be somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, it could be.
There wasn't another name that ran Arkham Asylum or something?
Hugo? No.
Yeah,
no,
that
he was
one.
just
Yeah, that's his name. No, Hugo?
I don't think he ran Arkham, but I think
He was like the
worked there.
warden or
I
something.
don't know if he was a warden.
And right now, and I'm sorry, the plan is to make a, it's not a prison setting, right? It's
No,
a,
it's a psychiatry.
mental health
Yep.
facility.
Yeah.
They haven't even established that there would be villainous people or villainous characters going in.
Yeah.
Right now, they're just, I mean, eventually it becomes a asylum for the criminally insane,
Yeah.
right? But they haven't used that terminology in the show yet.
Okay,
No,
I
yeah.
guess
Right,
that's,
right,
you know.
That's my question.
Yeah, we're kind of tiptoeing beyond our boundaries at this point. So yeah, you might be right. They might just go for that mental asylum. What do you think, Becca?
I mean, I think it's got to be criminally insane. I mean, it's such a great ring to it, and they've stuck with this gritty version of Gotham City that...
Speaking of grit, we forgot to point out Edward Nygma. He got a little he had a small line, but a little taste into his like villainy when he was that whole like he went from forensic guy with the riddles and whatnot. Then he was like, oh, fascinating. Like when they were starting to see the darkness that's inside of him.
Yeah.
So it might have been a little foreshadowing. That's the word I meant to say.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to go with criminally insane. I mean, first of all, one of the bad guys has to stay alive past the end of the episode for that to
That's a
happen.
good point.
That's true.
Everybody dies.
That's true.
Like nobody goes to jail in this town. They all die at the end of the episode.
Jails are crowded.
Yeah.
You know, we need a little bit more population out there. It's not like we're overpopulated or nothing. So, yes, fan question number 2 from @Starsky 1490. Do you think that we will see any interactions between Penguin and Victor Zsasz, like in the Arkham games? Well, we have already made it apparent that we cannot wait for Victor Zsasz to come because he's one of those like realistic criminals that would look good in the show.
Yeah.
And we keep getting that taste from the trailers and whatnot, but I have yet to see Victor Zsasz in any type of form.
He will be in the
show.
first 8 episodes.
Oh.
Because that trailer came out of the first 8 episodes that were already made.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just ordered another 8. So they're shooting the last 8 right now.
Yeah.
So Victor Zsasz will be in the next 3 episodes.
I read it was going to
Guaranteed.
be a 22-episode season.
Then they might have ordered more.
Maybe they ordered more.
Okay,
14
well,
on the
hurry
back
the
end
hell
of
up with Victor Zsasz, because we want to see him. Just give us a cut, a slice, somebody had markings on their arm,
Right.
give us something. We want to see him.
I mean, I would say if they're going to exist in this universe on this television show, then they will probably definitely interact because the Penguin finds trouble.
Yes.
And he finds evil.
He does.
And he enjoys it. He likes to mix it up with, I mean, that's his rec basketball. He doesn't go down to the YMCA. He goes down to Scumbag Alley, meets people like Victor Zsasz, and then, they cut up people with bottles.
I think they'll definitely have some interaction. Judging from what I've seen from the trailer, somebody hires Zsasz to go after Gordon. So, judging who we've seen as the criminals thus far, it's going to be one of the crime families. It's got to be one of the crime families. So we have a 50-50 chance of Penguin hooking up with him. I mean, not hooking up with him, but yeah, you get the point.
Well, I mean, at this point, we see Barbara and the rest of them, so he could possibly hook up with him, too.
I wonder if it doesn't make sense for it to be Falcone, because we don't really have Falcone. It seems so powerful, but he doesn't really have, like, a guy. Like
Yeah, it's
everybody
true.
else has their weapon. Falcone's weapon is just his pure power and his ability to work with the police, work with rich people, like work inside the parameters of the law and outside of it more fluidly than everyone else. All of the other bad guys seem like straight up criminals. He feels like one of those ambiguous man of the people who tries to, garner the sympathy of the public rather than make them fear him.
And
he
I
does
think-
kind of have that vibe. Like towards the end, I feel like it's gonna be like a Frank Lucas effect. Like we're not
Right.
gonna feel as bad. We want him to succeed,
Right.
not realizing he's the bad guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, and if Victor Zsasz does hook up with Falcone, then it'll give us an interesting scene dynamic because we're going to see more scenes with Liza and Falcone, obviously, and we need someone else in there that's on Falcone's team that we can identify as a bad guy or just somebody that's going to make moves for him, kind of.
I agree.
I see.
Well, if that's the case, if it's going to be Falcone, then we know why Falcone's sending him after Gordon. Probably because he finds out about the Penguin being alive.
Sure.
That is true. That is true. Good point. All right, so on to our question number 3 from, yet again, Mr. Spice Nug. Would it do?
Ooh, yeah.
Who would you cast as Bane or Solomon Grundy?
I love Tom
All
Hardy.
right.
I love Tom Hardy.
But see, we'd already done it, so I
Yeah.
doubt he would come to the show.
I know they can't. He's like a big,
Yeah.
film actor, which, I don't know, for this type of show, I couldn't see him doing it. But
Well,
you
either way, like I
never
said,
know.
they've done him. So, like Tom Hardy, it's a good option.
And
though.
age-wise, it's...
Yes.
And what Bane are we going for? Are we going for classic Bane?
What?
Or are we going for Nolan Bane?
I mean, now we got the Venom in the thing, so now we kind of gotta go
We gotta
with
go on classic.
Yeah, we gotta go with classic.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, what the thing with the Nolan Bane is that Bane was a mercenary.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was for Central American countries, and
Yeah.
then he came and he got this venom and he got big and he became Bane.
So I'd say if
So it's a mix of both.
my choice, if we're getting big Bane, then I would want, you'd start off with a regular, you get a small guy, and then you'd ultimately cast a bigger guy. I'd love to see Dave Bautista as Big Jack Bane. I mean, that
Big
guy is
Jack Bane.
terrifying.
Oh,
Well, they'll have to
nice.
do the Chris Evans Captain America thing on the little guy.
Oh,
body
yeah.
Right,
with that.
right.
But I can see that working.
Yeah.
Let's just hope he can do that dynamic of acting, though. Because we got to admit, Guardians of the Galaxy, he did great, but for that
killed
character.
it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Because
true.
that was his character. We all saw, Man with the Iron Fist? Not so
Sure.
much the same level.
Sure.
So I'm just saying, hopefully, I feel like he could do it, though.
Right.
I mean, for me, realistically, I like to cast someone who probably speaks fluent Spanish because he is, South American, is he
Sure.
Nicaraguan. You
Right.
know, I have a lot of experience in Nicaragua. Shout out. But I mean, I would go for like a small Hispanic descent. What's the guy? This is more just throwing that out there. Honestly, I don't really know who I would cast as the Bane. We kind of forgot about Solomon Grundy, but as the Bane character, I'd probably pick the guy who was like the skinny little dude with Nacho Libre on the Jack Black movie.
Oh, Efren Ramirez?
Yeah, I'd pick somebody like him and then just CG him the hell up.
Just
Kinda
jack
like
him
the
up.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, they did it with the what's the
Dr. Jekyll,
Dr.
Mr. Hyde.
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You see how they had to do something along those lines? Give me some,
Well,
like,
you know,
tentacles.
you cast the guy in the role, and he's gonna get a personal trainer. He's gonna get
That's a lot of
jacked.
CG for
Yeah.
TV,
Pressure.
though.
That's true. So, you know, maybe Dave Bautista could be him in the mask.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way,
it just
you know.
occurred to me.
It could be anybody,
I like that.
as long as they got the mask on. I'm
There you
happy.
go.
That's a good point.
So we never know who they would cast.
And I do want to thank all you guys for sending us all those questions. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to get all of them, but we will keep them on deck, and you'll probably be on the next episode, you know, because we got nothing but love for you guys, so keep sending them. We also want to shout out some of our beautiful people that we have on Twitter, at Hoisting My Sail.
Love that
Good
one.
innuendo, I like that. At Gotham Addicts, as always, we communicate regularly. At Legends of Gotham, I like that. And at Mike the Movie Guy. What it do, Mike?
Hey, Mike.
I hope that is your real name. But yes, and one more thing I want to point out, we can't forget that for a little while in Gotham, there was superhuman prostitutes running around the city.
That's true.
I just want to say, nobody.
Speaking of the power of a taco,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right?
All I'm saying is anybody that handles a dick as regularly as these prostitutes doesn't need to have super strength.
That's right.
That makes me uncomfortable during the business
were
hours
scared.
of 9 to 5.
wait,
Snap.
are you saying that you would you
Snap
would
it
be
like a
customer
twig.
for yeah?
Not during the business hours
The
of
power
9 to
taco.
5 on Monday and sometimes Sunday. But that's, you know, a whole another case entirely. But yeah.
I was thrilled about the prospect of super prostitutes. You know, I'm not going to shy away from it. I thought it presented a very interesting alternative to mundane, boring prostitutes.
You know?
Well, I was upset because I liked that one prostitute that we met briefly, and I wanted to see more of her, but her bones crumbled and her skin melted. so.
Unfortunately.
Some people may like that. She may still find work.
And don't forget to check out at Gotham Talk, okay, and the podcast at Blog Talk Radio /Gotham Talk. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I had a pleasant time today.
Yes.
It was good having you back, Tommy.
Great to be
It was
back.
nice to meet you today,
Guys,
Becca.
thanks so much for having
You know,
me.
no, thank you for coming, okay?
Yeah.
And guys, like I said, keep on hitting us up. If you got any questions, hit us up on Twitter at Gotham AS as usual. And don't forget to subscribe to theStream.tv here on YouTube channel. And like I said, tweet us throughout the week, comment on the network, everything you need to get us your questions and information that you find important. And yeah, other than that, you guys got any closing statements you want to throw out there?
Don't vex me, mortal.
Yes.
Deeper. Can we all do it together?
Don't vex me, mortal. In the
Rip
meantime,
ATM.
we will see your mortal self later.
See you next week.